everyone. Welcome to Team Hardcore. My name is Janelle Summers. I'm the head of Team Hardcore, and I'm so flippin' excited to present to you today our guest speaker, Summer Tucker. I'm going to introduce you to her in just one second, but first I want to just say we are at the end of January, coming up on February, and February is such an exciting time in our business. This is the time where people are like, okay, yeah, I had that New Year's resolution, and now I need to act on it. People have been deciding over the last couple of weeks, who should I turn to? Should I join this gym? Should I ask so-and-so what to do? They're trying to figure stuff out. And the reason I know that for a fact is because I was a fitness instructor, group fitness instructor, and personal trainer for years and years. Group fitness instructor for over 20 years, every single gym, every single year. Towards the end of January and beginning of February is when the club started to fill up and the classes really started to fill up, because that's when people started to really go, okay, this is what I need to do. So now's your time to be putting yourself out there and getting yourself on people's radar, so that when they do hit that moment where they're like, I need to do something, like enough is enough, you're the first one that they think of, and you're the one that they know, like, and trust that they can go to for advice. And so also right upon us is the Team Cup Challenge. So if you have not registered for a team yet, do so. I don't care how new you are. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Just do it. You know, with anything that we do in our business, we do our best and forget the rest, right? Tony Horton's quote. I think he's the one that said it first. But anyway, that's how you got to approach it. You just gotta go. And so many people wait until like, oh, but maybe February's not a good time, or maybe I don't know enough yet, or I don't want to let my team members down. I think we're all in this together, and that we respect each other's space, and we know that, you know, we're human, but we're here to do our best, and that's all we can do, right? And if you don't try, then for sure you're not going to succeed, right? So now is the time to register for a team. If you don't have a team member or don't have a team, go to the Coach Success Facebook group, because you can post in there, and tons of people don't have a team yet or just need one team member. So go connect with someone or some team if you're not a part of a team yet. And to register your team, it's Team Beachbody. Oh, gosh, why can I not think of it now? Team Beachbody, teamcup.com. I'm pretty sure. Team Beachbody, teamcup.com. I'm pretty sure that's it. So you register there. You need 5 members. Only one can be a lifetime diamond or above. Super fun. It's something to do for sure. So with that, I want to introduce to you our guest speaker, Summer Tucker. Now, she's been on the National Wake Up Call several times, and every time she is, I'm like, oh my gosh, I heard it. I hope every single person on my team heard that call. And I just wish I could literally, you know, talk to each one of my team members after her calls and be like, did you hear what she said? I mean, so this is an honor for me to have her as a guest speaker on the call. Let me give you her stats. First and foremost, though, you guys, she is a mom of 3 and a former military wife. She's also a superstar diamond coach in her first business center, so 15-star diamond. She's a 3-star diamond in her second business center. She's a 2-star in her third business center. She's a 4-time elite coach. She's, of course, a Success Club legend. She's a 2-time summit speaker, and she's in the Million Club. So with that, will you help me welcome to the stage, to the virtual stage, Summer Tucker.
Thank you so much, Janelle. It's funny how I ended up on this call, because I was reading a book, and it's called The 4-Hour Workweek, and I've tried to follow it, read it before, and it just didn't resonate with me. But this time, this part of the book was talking about getting outside of your comfort zone and doing something that makes you nervous and setting a deadline for it. Okay. And one thing that made me nervous was asking Janelle to talk on one of our team calls, you know, and there's a story to that, because my success equation was built on Janelle. Just hold on for a second. That'll make sense in a second. So I set a deadline for me, and sent the message and shut the computer and ran that way. You know what I mean? Like, some of you guys know what I'm talking about. You send that invite out that you're nervous to that person on your dream team, and you just want them on your team so bad. You know what I mean? You do it, you shut the computer, and you run. You know what I mean? You're scared to check it. You know, I told my assistant, I said, you check it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you tell me, you check it. So then, and of course, Janelle is amazing and was like, absolutely. Will you be on my call? I was like, I didn't see that coming. I did not see that one coming. You know what I mean? And so that's how I ended up here, on this call, which is an absolute honor, because like I told you guys, my success equation was built on failing Janelle by 90%. Seriously, okay? And so if there's one thing I know how to do, it's to fail. I really do. I've done that a lot in my life. I went to, how many schools did we go to?
We did the trip
3
around.
different colleges, right? Or 4. Anyway, doesn't, see,
Maybe
you
around
lose count with so many colleges, right? And by the end, ended at Ohio State with whatever could get me out as fast as I could get out. So I could follow Chad into the military. So, I know how to fail. And so when I was, so some of you guys know my story. We'll go backtrack a little bit. But when Chad went into the military, it's never anything that I wanted to do. I wanted to, I had a job as a police officer. I was getting ready to leave for the police academy when he had already put a ring on it and then said he wanted to go into the military. That wasn't part, that's something you tell someone before you walk down the aisle, like, hey, like I was thinking about just kind of throwing you for a loop. What do you think? Nope, ring on it.
Close
And
the sale.
then, yeah, you closed the sale and then told me what was part of the sale, and so I really, really struggled with that. Chad and I have known each other since 3rd grade. We've been together since we were 15, a long time. And so, of course, he was more important than, my ego wanting to be a police officer. I wanted to be a bicycle cop because, you could get paid to track down people that aren't following the rules. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a rule follower. So anyway, so I followed him, and slowly but surely they take little things from you. At least that's how I saw it. That's how my ego saw it. I lost my social security. I was his social security, and I was Captain Tucker's wife, not even Summer anymore. You just, oh, you're Tucker's wife. Yes, you know what I mean? And so slowly but surely things got taken away, and then I ended up a single mom. That wasn't part of the deal, Chad. Okay, that's not what we talked about. It's not what I was thinking, and so I started to numb out. I even went into personal training and group fitness and all of that stuff to try to fix myself because I was always the bigger bone daughter. You know what I mean? I was always kind of made fun of a little bit. I struggled with food and all kinds of stuff. And so that's one thing I tried to do to fill my time was become a personal trainer and to fix myself. And when I couldn't fix myself, I was frustrated inside. I was alone, and Chad deployed for that first time. I just sunk deeper and deeper. No community, the middle of nowhere. My rock was gone. I had a newborn and a 4-year-old and a fixer-upper. We're really, really, I told you, I know how to fail. I know how to set myself up to fail. And so when I was walking down after about 2 months, Chad had been in, gone, I was walking down the stairs and I use this line on my clients all the time. If you want something different, you have to do something different, almost to the point that it loses its meaning. It's just one of those things that, like, it's almost like when you say hi to someone walking down the street, you really, how are you? You really don't expect to get a response as to how they're really doing. Do you know what I mean? So if you want something different, that became just, except for this day, I was walking down the stairs, tired, our 10-month-old never slept, and I was just walking down to start the coffee, and I saw that sign, and it stopped me in my tracks, except for there was this one word that popped out. It wasn't the quote, it was the word you. Summer had to do something different, not Chad, not my upline, not my family, not my in-laws, not my sister. No, Summer needed if Summer wanted to do something different. So I hit a pain point, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. Okay, I'd hit a pain point, like, I and recently started telling my team, like, what do you hate? Like, I'm going to ask you guys 2 really important questions today that if you are willing to be vulnerable enough and let yourself go there in a society where we're taught not to go there, like, imagine if you were walking at school to get your kids and someone's like, how are you? And you said, actually, I'm kind of a little depressed. My husband's gone. I feel numb. I'm not comfortable in my clothes. I cry in my closet when I get dressed before I date. The person would be like, I wasn't really looking for you to tell me all that. Do you know what I mean? Like, but so we're in this society where, even on Facebook, we put, all the good forward, and there are some, you're not supposed to post everything. So, you know what I mean? So I get that, but I want you to go somewhere that most people don't tell you to go, which is to what you hate, because what you hate is going to fuel what you need to change. Your pain point is where your power comes from. And so I got to that point where I allowed myself to say, like, dang it, like, this is not what I signed up for. That I did not sign up to be a single mom. This is not what I want to do for 20 years. I don't care what the healthcare is like. I don't care what the pension's like. I hate this. I hate climbing into my bed at night and it's cold. I hate doing everything by myself. I hate it. In a world where military wives just don't say that. Do you know what I mean? Nope, you walk out the door, I'm good, I got it all together. Do you know what I mean? The kid, everything's perfect. They even got their Pottery Barn bags. You know, this is the officer's wife, get your pottery. Everything's good. Got your nice car, you know what I mean? But just before you walked out of the house, it was a tornado. You walk out and you're like, we're good over here. Do you know what I mean? Like, right? Am I not right?
Oh, you're
I'm right.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to ask you to go to this really raw place. You know, even if you don't have anybody you can tell, like, at least allow yourself to go there and start to journal it. Because once I got there, I allowed myself to start asking me this next question that will change your life. And it's beyond what do you want, okay? Because that's a good question, I guess. What do you want? But I'm going to go a little bit deeper because I'm always studying something. And I've been studying happiness, as corny as that sounds, you know, and how to finish well, because I know how to live well, but I want to know how to finish well. So I've been studying people that are 10 or 15 years ahead of me in what I do, and I see if they have the fruit of what I want 10 to 20 years in front of me. Does that make sense? So I've been studying happiness. And did you know that unhappiness actually is rooted in boredom? Okay? And so if unhappiness is rooted in boredom, then happiness is rooted in excitement. So what excites you?
Awesome.
Right? Ask yourself, let yourself go there. You know, not this is what it is, BS. Like, no, what excites you? And I let myself go there 7 years ago. You know, and what excited me was to have a husband that I woke up next to in bed, that we actually got to have coffee together and enjoy the morning, a calm morning, and take the kids to school together and enjoy a weekend where I'm not wondering if his plane's gonna break down, he's gonna get stuck in another state or what's just you know, I was excited about that freedom. I was excited, and I let myself go there in a place where all the military wives laughed at me. I got naysayed and hate Facebook messages from people in his squadron, but you have to also adopt Fox given. Okay? When you're in that hate, right? When you let yourself go there, you can't care what everybody else thinks, right? And so once you made that decision, now you have the drive, right? Once you let yourself go there, now you have the power. What next, right? I was lost. You know, I didn't know, okay, I want to build this. Now how do I build? What do I do? How do I do this? And we're going to talk a little bit about this with dreamlining and goal setting and how to create that momentum that keeps going. But some of us are so overwhelmed that we're trying to be perfect. But I got to share this secret. The failure equation that I built this $1 million business on, and this freedom and this vision, and what excites me that we're actually living out today, came from failing Janelle by 90%. Okay? See, when it was, I think Janelle had just hit the Millionaires Club. That's what they called it back then, when I just found what I hated. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. And I was listening to, it was called not a National Wake Up Call back then, something else. But what?
Yeah,
something else. But I was listening to her accolades, right? And I was like, okay, if I fail her by 90%, so she hit the Millionaires Club, and Chad gave me 6 figures. That's what he needed to feel comfortable, right? So that's failing her by 90%. And if it takes me twice as long, I'm better off. 6 years, right? We had 6 years left. I'm better off than I am now, where I was, crawling into bed by myself, doing everything by myself, feeling numb, feeling unsatisfied, not excited, completely bored. You see, I was better off if it took me twice as long as her, and I failed her by 90%, I'd be better than I was at that moment. And that's what I decided to do. I was going to learn from Janelle. She doesn't even know this. I've never probably even told her this story. I was going to learn from Janelle. I was going to let her and Melissa McAllister, those were like national wake-up calls, that's what taught me everything I know. Like, I had note cards from them and everything, you know what I mean? I just got to fill her by 90%. She's definitely fitter than I am. She's definitely hotter than I am. I just got to fill her by 90%. That was my equation. And I can do that. I told you guys I know how to fail, right? I know how to fail. Some of us are trying to live up instead of just being ourselves and understanding that you have to fail forward. The only difference between me and you is I've been here longer and I've failed more times than you have. I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not afraid of it. So today I'm going to ask you to let go of all those expectations, to adopt this quote and ask yourself, what do you hate and what excites you? And once we get there, now we can start dreamlining, okay? Listen, it has to be effective. It has to be completely unrealistic. There was absolutely no reason I should make 6 figures in this business. Remember I told you guys I jumped from place to place to place in college, right? I didn't have a business degree. I actually ended in criminology. Criminology, business, not really the same thing. You know what I mean? Not really, they don't really line up, right? I lost my softball scholarship as a freshman, hurt myself, got invited to try out for professional softball, got cut there. I got the failure down. You know what I'm saying? And I was definitely failing as a military wife. But you have to set, like, remember, if the equation for happiness is excitement, you have to get unrealistic. You have to unprogram what everybody's been telling you. Like, don't get your hopes up. I don't want you to be let down. Yeah, you know what I mean? Let's just be more realistic about what you're doing right now. Only the people at the top succeed. You know, all that realistic, we have to throw all of that out the window and be willing to get unrealistic. Remember, if you're willing to fail, the unrealistic doesn't scare you. Doesn't scare you, right? I mean, think about this. Yes, I'm backing up my chair now because I might have to stand up. Think about this. When our kids are learning to walk, when they take that first step and fall, okay? Do you stand up? No, let's just, not even you. Let's say you had a friend over, okay? Let's say you had a friend over that was like, your kid fell, right? She's like 11 months old. She pulls herself up on the coffee table, tries to take a step and falls. What if your friend stood up and was like, dude, are you kidding me? You're only, oh my gosh, you're 11 months old and your child hasn't learned how to walk yet? You're going to be crawling for the rest of your life. Don't even try it. Game over. What would you do? You kick their tail right out. Get out of my house. Are you kidding me? Right? Are you kidding me? Why do you do it to yourself? Why do you do it to yourself? Your kids' success in walking is built on their willingness to fall. And it's for a purpose, right? Think about it. Every time they fall, what happens? When you fall, what's this? It's a squat. They fall down, they stand back up. What's that doing? Strengthening their quads, their hamstrings, their stability muscles, and their ankles, their knees, their core, all of that stuff, which is vital, absolutely vital for learning to walk, right? And then once they master that with the couch and the coffee table, they see you doing the dishes, they see those shiny knives, and they're like, I'm gonna try that over there. And they start doing it. They don't do it the first time, take a couple, and then they fall. And then they stand back up, which is exactly how you should think about your journey. Exactly, right? You send your first invite. They tell you, hell no, okay? You don't go, oh, I can't do it. It's just not meant to be. I'm not a people person. I'm not good at inviting. That's the same as someone telling your kid they weren't meant to walk. You know what I mean? You stand back up. You tweak it. You ask for a little advice, like, hey, like, I got it, hell no, from this message right here. Can you tell me what I said? Did I say something to provoke that? Is there something, you know what I mean? And then you fix it, and you stand back up, and you send out another invite, and you evaluate it, and you do it again, over and over and over again. Right, Chad? That's how you learn to fly, right?
No, I learned to fly from,
Just like, took off, right? Yeah. Right off in that jet, and you're like, you got it. Right? That would be crazy, right? It was 2 years of training, right? Was it 2? No.
2+, yeah.
2+ years of training in the Marine Corps before they actually let him fly a mission over Afghanistan. 2 years, right? He missed traps. He missed all kinds of things. Did you ever fail a test?
Oh, yeah.
Failed a test. You know what I mean? Like no big deal. He's like, oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, but how come we beat ourselves up over, like, we should know right this second how to build this business. And if the first invite comes back with a no, or if I don't understand social media right away, it's not meant to be. You have to understand that there is a preparation season. There's a preparation season. Chad and I were just listening to that, a sermon this morning about it. And the fact that we are so much in a society that is all about the post, and we forget about the pre, right? They're all about the post. You know what he said, like Guitar Hero. You know what I mean? Like, we all want to be rock stars without learning the chords. You know what I mean? We all want to be the rock stars without having to learn it, right? But we have to fall in love with the preparation, the plowing, everything that you've been through, every no that you've received, every rank you have dropped. I know, go figure. Did you know that does happen to other people? You know, you see them announced as, 2-star. You just didn't realize that next week they were back to diamond, and then 1-star, and then ruby, and then just, you know what I mean? It's like but no one announces that, right? And so you are beating yourself up because you hit emerald and then lost it, hit emerald again and then lost it, and then start to build, you hit ruby, back emerald, and you're beating yourself up. But that's the dance, that's the plow, right? Think about a farmer. He can have the best seed in the world. The best seed in the world. If you want to jump in any time and add,
you're rolling.
Okay. If you have the best seed in the world, but you don't plow your field, it will never take root. Write that down. If you don't plow your field, it will never take root. I don't care how good the seed is. And you're like, well, what seed? This right here. What Janelle is telling you every single week. Her, what she's sharing with you and teaching you, summit. That you have to do the plowing of your heart so that when the seed is planted, it can take root, right? So then the people you are coaching in challenge groups and on your team are no different. You give them some grace. Their heart needs to be plowed, right? Their heart needs to be plowed. It's all part of the process. So fall in love with the pre. Fall in love with the preparation. I always tell my team, so many of us are like, Lord, just, help me pay off this debt. And he's not like, here you go. Here's a big old sack of money. Just because you asked, you know what I mean? Like, he's lining things up for you to pay off the debt. He's plowing your heart to teach you how to be a steward of money, right? And then you start paying it off. It's part of the plow and preparation of the whole thing. So you have to understand that process to understand the failure equation and the dream lining. So,
and this is, and yeah. I spent 11 years in the Marine Corps, and it's not a far stretch, and it's not an exaggeration to say that the leadership I've seen from this organization, from Beachbody, from leaders like Janelle, leaders like Summer, and leaders that are out there, is probably the purest form of leadership that you can see out there. And it takes time to develop that, because you can lead with a hammer, okay? And in most organizations, you can lead with a hammer, or you can lead with a carrot, so money. So either you will do this, or you get fired, or you do this, so I'll pay you more. And here in Beachbody, we as leaders can't do that. Like, you don't have a hammer to hammer them with, because they can just leave. You don't have cash from the get-go to give them to incentivize them trying or doing. You have to lead with the heart. And I never really learned that in the Marine Corps until being exposed to this organization, going to the summit and going to different trainings and just hearing people. And my point of that, of saying this, is that those things are cultivated over time. They're cultivated over failing relationships, making mistakes in relationships, learning from those mistakes, and developing that leadership style, which when you do, or if you have, you create something that Janelle and Summer have created, which is a following that they will literally follow you through fire because they trust you. And the trust word is the big thing in there. And that's what takes really failing over and over again, and and not being just in this country, we have an emotional maturity level of a 2-year-old, like something happens bad and it's just, you just fold. And through that fire you're forged in, that's where true leadership comes from. And that's where true business building, and then it goes into that's where our dreams come from. Because once we figure that out, and once we realize that this thing can happen, that's when we allow ourselves a dream, because we've done the work in the back.
So how do we get there is like pushing our comfort zone. That was good, Chad. That reminded me of like pushing your comfort zone. You know what I mean? How do you get to these dreams? It's by continuously stepping outside your comfort zone and seeing how big you can get your comfort zone to be. Do you know what I mean? How big can you push it every single day through action? So I got a question for you. Do you think you're currently performing at your potential, or are you currently performing at your preparation level? Ooh, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like when I listen to some of my mentors, I'm like, dang, man, that hurt a little bit. Are you currently performing at your level of potential, or are you currently performing at your level of preparation, right? At preparation. And so, you know, you have to stop staring at your walls, okay? Your walls are your limitations. Stop staring at your walls, okay? All the reasons that you shouldn't try to walk. I mean, think about a baby. You know what I mean? They look up and you're like a giant. Like, you know what I mean? They must be thinking like, there is no way I can ever do what they just did. I mean, you, like as a parent, like, you know, a baby like Griffin would be watching me in the bouncy thing and I'm doing like jumping jacks. He's probably like trying to think like, how would I ever figure that out? Do you know what I mean? And to the point where, can you imagine if babies thought that way? Like, screw it, I'm not even gonna try to sit up. I mean, I'm not even gonna, like, I'm gonna stay right here in this bouncy, right in my comfort zone. I'm saying, mom keeps feeding me everything. You know, she takes care of me. She carries me everywhere. I'm gonna stay right here, right? Some of us are doing that to ourselves, right? That's not, we all know that's not our babies or our kids' potential, right? That they have to continually prepare for the next season of life, right? The next battle they're going to go into. And somebody like, battle? Yes, this is a battle. I keep this around to remind me what I'm doing. I'm fighting for the girls who never thought they could win. They never thought they could win. Thank God Janelle fought for me. She didn't know she was. We don't know who we're fighting for. You have no idea who's watching you. You have no idea. Your kids are watching you. You might have someone in the downline watching you. You're fighting for them. So open your window and see your victory. Open your window and see it. What do you want? What excites you? Get to that place. Get to that place. You wrote something here. Oh, that's a good one. Are you stuck? This is Chad's question for you guys. Are you stuck, or did you just stop? Are you stuck, or did you just stop? And this isn't like, this is from our devotional this morning. And please, if that's not your thing, please don't judge me and then tune me out and stop hearing what you need to hear, because it's not meant to offend you but hear the story within it, okay? So there's a story about a king that was supposed to take his arrows and pound them. The king just said, pound them. Does that make any sense? Pound them? Like, arrows supposed to fly. You know what I mean? Like, you want me to pound them on the ground? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Some of the things that you're doing, it doesn't make any sense. You're like, Facebook Live, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would I have to do that? And we're saying, just do it. Just do it. Art Williams, just do it. You know, but it doesn't make any sense to you. Some people are like, you need to go to Summit. And you're like, no, it doesn't. I'm not a people. I don't need to be around big crowds. I don't need it. It doesn't make any sense. Some of the things we're asking, personal development, who the heck needs it? I am personally developed. I remember the first time they said personal development, I was like, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need any of that. It doesn't make any sense. I need to read it every day. I need to come to these webinars and learn from leaders. I got it. I am a leader. It doesn't make any sense, right? And so this king does it 3 times and stops. Elijah never told him to stop. You know what I mean? Why did he stop? Because it didn't make any sense, right? Some of us have just stopped. We're not stuck. You know what I mean? Like, if some of you guys, like, I told my coach the other day, the problem is some of you guys would be consistent if I told you the date you would hit diamond. If you knew that date, you'd be like, oh, no problem. 4 months from now? Okay, that's a little longer than I was hoping. Or 6 months, that's a lot longer than I was hoping. But, you know, since I know the date, I've already received my promise, I can be, right? Some of us want to know, I heard it shared like this. No, I'm not going to share that part. You know, so you want your promise first, and then you want to do the work. That's like saying, you know what? I will put wood in the fire when it gives me heat. It doesn't make any sense, right? And so you have to open the window. Look out. What do you want? Whatever is exploding in your spirit right now, you have a little negative voice telling you it's unrealistic. That's it. Write it down. That's what you want right now. As soon as the little negative voice says, you're like, that's it. That's it. That's how you know what you want, because a negative voice in your ear starts telling you that it's unrealistic, that you're not built that way. Right now you're going, I don't have the same enthusiasm that Summer does. I hear the negative voice. I've heard people told me to my face, right? Did you think I popped out of the womb this way? You know what I mean? 7 years ago, when I was listening to Janelle Summers, I was not quite this animated. Do you know what happened? I plowed my field for 7 years. I plowed my field for 7 years to the point where I tripped and fell, and sometimes the ox, I plow my field with an ox. It takes me a while. You know what I mean? Drug me, got mud all over my face. You know what I mean? But that is my pain. That's my message. If you're willing to let him make a message out of your mess, he will, and he will give you a platform to share it. And you can get excited about that because it's your story. There's only one you, but you have to take action. It is the only way to change your belief system. The only way. So many people, yes, a man without a vision will perish, right? So you got to have a vision, but guess what? So many of us have been suppressed for so long. You know what I mean? Oh, that your kind doesn't, because you're the wrong color. You're a little too old. Do you know what I mean? Like if you look at the top 10, most a little younger. So you probably missed your prime. You're totally not even looking at, Melissa McAllister. You counted her out and you're looking at all the blondes. You're like, well, I don't have blonde hair. So maybe if I dye my hair. Do you know what I mean? Like you're discounting yourself already, right? You're discounting yourself already, but there's only one you. There's only one, and that's what's so freaking exciting. And that's where your enthusiasm comes from. We talked about this on our team call the other day, but enthusiasm is contagious. Fear is contagious. And some of you guys like, where does that enthusiasm come from? I already told you where it came from what excites you. It comes from what excites you, right? And so that enthusiasm is all that you need. And this is through action, right? That's all that you need to build this. You're like, no, that's not true. No, I'm serious. That enthusiasm for that pain point, that hate, the enthusiasm, that deep hate that you're enthusiastic about is what propels you forward. So I'll tell you a story. Griffin walked in. Griffin used to be homeschooled. He's 10. He's our son. He's our son. And we put him in school 4 months ago, okay? And he was nervous, and we talk. I don't just preach these things, talk these things on webinars, and then not live them at home. You know what I mean? It's the same. So Griffin's hearing all this stuff about enthusiasm and dreamlining, and Griffin, what do you hate? You know what I mean? It's that kind of household, and so he knows how I feel about enthusiasm. Okay, that everything that it's contagious. Whatever your downline will duplicate you. Whatever you're putting out there. If you gossip, your downline will gossip, reap what you sow. You know what I mean? If you're negative, you'll duplicate yourself in your household, in the workplace, on your team, at Summit. It will duplicate itself. Trust me, it's like a law that you can't avoid. You know what I mean? We teach Griffin this stuff. So I said, Griffin, you go in fear. Right? It's going to be contagious. People are going to fear you. They're going to feel it. You go in with enthusiasm, be ready for the ride of your life, right? I didn't know, 10-year-olds, how much do they listen to you? You know what I mean? So he's probably like, whatever, mom. You know what I mean? Like, he walks into school, right? Chad's talking to a teacher over here. I look in, he walks in, he knows nobody, no one. He starts fist bumping him on the way in. He's high-fiving all the students. Guess what happened? They took his book bag for him. Let me show you where you put this. They got his lunch out and put it in the proper place. Okay. And then when the teacher was like, Griffin's going to need a place to sit, all the boys were like, by me. Right? Can you imagine if you had that much enthusiasm in your life? Let's just even start in your household. There was a girl that I went to training with in Canada. And the only thing she changed after all of us being together was smiling at her kids. Her family was falling apart. Her marriage was stressed out. she had a lot of fat in her budget because she drank too much wine to numb out all the other stuff. So she worked on her wine budget. That was one thing we identified. And all she did was smile. You want to know why? Because she hated the division in her family. I finally got her to admit that she hated that division, that she hated waking up in the morning and everybody being grumpy. She hated it, right? And so finally I got her to admit that. And then she decided what she was excited about. She was excited for harmony in the household. She was excited for a relationship with her boys before they went off to college. She was excited for that type of excitement in her family again, that enthusiasm. So all she did is go home and she started smiling, like just like this. You know, and she was like, they looked at me like I was a nutball. You know what I mean? They're like, Mom, what is wrong with you? Like, you know, so people are going to say that, like, you could start smiling on Facebook. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, you know, I'm going to turn a new leaf. I'm going to stop talking about politics. I'm going to smile on Facebook, right? You could do that and everybody's going to be like, what is wrong with her? You know what I mean? Why is she so happy? You know what I mean? And that's what they did to this girl, right? Or why, you know, and she's kept doing it. I'm just excited to be with you. Her enthusiasm, she made the decision to be enthusiastic in her household, completely flipped around her household, completely. All relationships repaired in the household based on enthusiasm. I taught this to one of my coaches. I teach it to a lot, but some people have not plowed. So they're not, the seed I planted and the birds eat it. So anyway, this one, it actually sunk in, okay? Come in 1 year, increased her income by 42% and totally flipped around her mindset. And the guy she was dating that she refused to marry because she'd been in an abusive relationship, guess whose wedding I'm going to in February? This girl. All based on enthusiasm and getting and being willing to identify what you hate and then having the courage to share what excites you. 42. Anybody here would love a 42% increase in their income? It's because you know what's missing in people's lives. They're unhappy. Walk around. I walk around at school and I have to chase people's eyes. Like, you know, they don't want to look at you. You know, that look, like, you know what I mean? Like, please don't talk to me. You know what I mean? Like, they're, you know what I mean? I chase them. So, hey, how are you? They're numb. They're me 7 years ago. They're me 7 years ago. Don't talk to me. Like, you don't want you to, you're going to ask me how I'm doing. And then I got to lie. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to. I'm tired of lying. You know, that constant conflict inside. So people don't, they need happiness. They're bored. They need someone to be enthusiastic in their life. That's you. You have a platform to do that. How awesome is that? You don't get to keep it to yourself. That's what I told the girl that the reason she's increased her pay by 42% is I told her, you don't get to keep this enthusiasm to yourself in your household. Oh, hold up. You know what? Something has changed in your life since you've become a coach or challenger or a coach. I teach my team to fold a piece of paper. I think Amber Snow taught me this. And then write on one side, life before challenge groups. On the other side, life before coaching. Look at that long list. You don't get to keep it to yourself. That's selfish. You have a duty to share that and offer that message to people over and over and over and over again every single day. That's exciting. If you look at that list, I keep my list everywhere with it. Carry it everywhere. If I get on a coach share call, if I get on a challenge share call, whatever, that list is in front of me because that's where my excitement comes from, right? It comes from the pain. Remember I told you that? Your message, your power comes from your pain, right? That's what we're excited about. That's where the enthusiasm comes from. And that's why people follow you. But you have to get to that place. You have to get to that place of hate, whatever it is. I can tell you what I hated. Chad, maybe you can tell us what you hated. I hated crying in the closet. I was a personal trainer and a group fitness instructor. I had group fit. I made the schedules and I was uncomfortable in my skin. I cried in the closet. And you know, I hated crying in the closet more than Oreos. I had to get to that place. You know, I loved what the Oreos did for me. You know, they made me happy. Let's just put that out there. Those Oreos made me happy when you were gone. At night, put the kids in bed, glass of wine, Oreos, and some smuck show, you know, like some, I don't know. So I loved what Oreos did for me. I hated what they did to me. When Chad and I were struggling in our marriage, I loved arguing. I loved being right.
You're really good at it.
I was a criminology major. Gotta use it somewhere. You know, I loved, it made me feel good to be like, boom, drop the mic. Do you know what I mean? Like, I loved it. I hated what it was doing to us. And so you have to get to that point where you're willing, I hate what it's doing to me, whether it be debt, whether it be debt or whether it be living paycheck to paycheck or being in the red or the financial noose that's getting tighter and tighter and tighter, or maybe it's the lack of purpose and excitement. You might love what your nighttime shows do for you, but you hate what it's doing to you when it comes to your business. You have to get to that place. So I loved hitting snooze when Chad was deployed. I loved it. You know what I mean? Like, I was tired. I hated what it did to our family because I was always running late. I was shoving an Eggo waffle in my kid's hand, shoving him out the door. Hurry, hurry, in the car. I was pulling into school on 2 wheels, right? You know what I mean? Get out, go, 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 go. You know what I mean? Like, and then I shut the door and I would cry. Like, I can't believe I just sent my kids off to learn like that. And I had to get to that place where I hated that more than I loved the snooze button. And that's what I'm asking you guys to do today, is to get real with where you're at in life. You've driven your energy bus there. Like, I'm starting to combine all my personal development. You've driven it there and you're like, no, I didn't. My husband drove it. I get it. I know. I thought Chad drove our bus to that piece of crap place we lived in too. But I had driven it there. But you know what's really, really cool? Is if you drove the bus there, that means you can drive your bus somewhere else. And that starts today. So I don't know where you're at right now. I don't know where you're at in your business. I mean, I don't know what's on your heart. I don't know what dreams you have, but today I am telling you, if you take these 2 questions and the principles that we have taught you, and you allow Janelle to till your heart, just to plow it, and you remain teachable, and you allow some of these gut punches to work on your heart, these seeds are going to take root. And now your only job is to protect it, right? Think about a farmer. They don't just plant on rock, okay? So they till it, then they have to plant new seed other than the weeds that were in there. They have to plant new seed, whatever that is, okay? Then they have to protect it from the deer and all those kind of things. So guess what that doesn't look like, right? Imagine if you did all of that, you plowed, you planted, you went inside. This is what some of us are doing. We sit back and we look at our farmer friends over here and you're like, why is their corn growing faster than mine? And their strawberries look more red than mine. And then you look over and now the deer ate your field. Eyes on your field. This is your journey. Eyes on your field. You know what I mean? So we have to till it constantly. We have to allow, you guys understand, like, Janelle is the bomb. I built my business on failing her. And so can you. Do you have something? You took a deep breath.
Sorry, I always take a deep breath.
I know him too well. Like, okay, I have to stop because Chad has something to say.
And what I'm going to say is that, and what I've learned about myself after leaving the military, and I came back. So a quick story. I came back from my second deployment. The bank account was full, basically. And what I'm going to say here is, from my experience, and money will not fix that excitement. So you can make all the money in that, but until you figure out what excites you. And I assure you that it's something a lot more than just extrinsic. It's a lot more than just something out there. It's something that lasts longer than your life. It is something deeper. It's a legacy. It's a vision for the future, for more than likely your family or your future family, or your future, or your husband or wife now, or your future husband or wife now. It's something that I hated not being excited. I hated going through the motion. I hated feeling angry. I couldn't figure out what it was. I hated not being the head of the household. I hated what I was doing in my family. I hated when I'd walk into the room, I was that person that sucked the energy out of it. And I was that person because I had focused on the wrong things. I had tried to find excitement in kind of what money could buy us. And now I came back to this thing where there was, I didn't really have any worries financially. We could do what we wanted, but I hadn't set out, I hadn't done it myself. I hadn't done it, and I hadn't learned how to become that leader in it. I hadn't learned what it meant and the sacrifices to get there. And I hadn't.
That's the plow.
And that's the plow.
And that is like, you know what? It was so awesome. And hold on to your thoughts. I took a deep breath, so it's my turn. See this right here? Set goals so big that you can't achieve it until you grow into the person who can. Write that down, you guys, because that's where the excitement comes from. That's where the excitement comes from, right? I remember the first time I ran my first marathon, okay? And I'm not a good runner in the slightest, and I don't enjoy it. Not really sure why I did it.
Punishes the ground.
Yeah, boom. But it's not pretty, and it's not fast. So, but it was in Whidbey Island, Washington. It's where we were stationed, and everything was hills. And I remember this one hill that was like this, and then you're like, okay, if I just get to the top of that, we're done. Right? And it comes up and it plateaus and you turn and it starts up again. Anybody ever feel like that? Like you feel like you're up to the top, you're like, oh crap. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like keeps going. The biggest mistake that we make on this journey, you guys, is not taking a second to stop and look back at where we came from. Remember that piece of paper I said? That you have to do that. That's where your excitement comes from. That's where your sharing comes from. That's where your purpose comes from. Looking back at seeing where you have come from, right? And so all my friends that were running with 5 other friends kept going. They mumbled and grumbled, they turned like, rah, like, you know what I mean? Like I could hear it all the way there. Like it was like 1 foot, like, like it was horrible, right? And I stopped on that plateau, kept my feet running. You can't see them. They're running right now. I don't know why I'm doing that. They kept them running like runners do, when you're not moving anywhere. You still keep them running so no one can say that you stopped, okay? Keep running. And I turned around. It was gorgeous in Whidbey Island, Washington. Amazing, okay? And I took that to see how far I'd come, and I let it fuel me the rest of the way. Guess who got to the top first? Not the other 5 that grumbled all the way because they wouldn't take the time to look back at how far they'd come. So that piece of paper is going to be vital. You all have come so far. I know it. I don't care. You might not be right where you want to be, but look at where you have come from and know that if you come through that, there shouldn't be any question in your mind about where you're going. Look what you've made it through. Holy cow.
And I've done that the last year and the last 4 years. Look back on it, it sucked. To change my mindset, to change how I led our family. But if I wanted that vision that excited me the most, which was sitting around, at Christmas with all our grandchildren climbing all over us, I knew we weren't going to have that if I didn't change who I was in the house, in the leadership role, and how I influenced everybody. So I knew we weren't going to have that because our kids were like, I don't want to. Dad's always angry. I'm out of here. And I could see that, so I had to change here. And it is not an overnight process, and it's not easy, but it is something that's really worth it. And it's something that, I want to encourage everybody to look deeper than.
Yeah, deeper. Because the pressure equals preparation. A lot of us are asking for the pressure to be taken off. If only I get here, then the pressure will be taken off. Guess what? If the pressure comes off, what happens to the excitement? It's gone. It's gone. And when there's no excitement, what happens? We get bored. And what is the root of unhappiness? Boredom, right? And so the pressure equals preparation. You're being prepared for something right now. You're going through something. You know what I mean? You have coaches that may have quit on you. You're being prepared for when you're a 5-star and there's more pressure, which is good because you have more influence. Holy crap, I told my team, you better fight for that influence because we got to infect every single house with this. We have to make our way into every single house to help deliver them from bondage of feeling unworthy, for lacking confidence, for feeling like they don't matter. like no purpose, crying in the closet, not wanting to touch their husband in bed. We have to infect every house that we can get a hold of. We have to build a team so that we can do that. There is purpose in it. And if you're going to have that kind of influence, you have to persevere. Lots of P's, huh?
A lot of P's.
You have to persevere through what you're going through now. So stop asking for it to go away. Stop asking for it to go away and ask him to show you how to handle it. Ask him to show you how to handle it, you guys. I'm going to ask you one last thing. I'm going to let you go because I know we're heading into the last 8 minutes.
Did you know how to put it?
Yeah. Last 8 minutes. I'm going to ask you one thing. I'm going to ask you to take the ejection handle out of the equation. Take the ejection handle out of the equation. Let me tell you a story and I'll tie it in and then we'll let you guys go. But when Chad and I were struggling, right? And Chad and I struggled when he came back from his second deployment. I didn't like him. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I didn't, you know what I mean? And I liked to argue because I wanted him to feel the pain that I had felt, and it felt good to make him as miserable as I had been, okay? That's where I was coming from. I loved it. Seriously, I did, and I like to do it through text. But this is where personal development came in. I hit it hard, right? And I had to get to a place where I hated what it was doing to us more than I loved getting the last word in. And I had to take the ejection handle off the table. It had to become not an option. And I'm going to ask you to take that same idea into this business, okay? When Chad flies his jet and he takes off, ejection is not really an option, okay? It's not. They have all kinds of checklists they go through before ejection is even really considered. And every time he took off, you had an emergency, right? Because pretty much a malfunction of some sort. They flew the Prowler. It was not a sexy plane in the slightest. Sorry, duct tape. It's cool. It is. Yeah, dripping all kinds of. Okay, say that. I'm sorry. And so you guys, every time he took off, he had some type of emergency, some type of malfunction problem, something he had to work through. And I want you to think of this business like this because, in case you haven't realized, we live on earth. We're not in heaven yet. So we're on earth. And earth is full of, I told you it was a battle. Remember? It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight. Your dreams are going to be a fight, right? Your dreams are going to be a climb. You're going to have pressure in this process to get to your purpose. Oh, that P. A P.
If you just show some passion to this call.
Look at that. So you're going to have those issues. Expect them. So when Chad would take off in the plane, he wasn't like caught off guard when the red light started dinging or the noises. I don't know what it sounded like, but you see what I'm saying? He expected it. I want you to expect that in this business. When I hit 15 star, I expected to lose it. I'm just be honest. I get it back. You know what I mean? And solidify it and then some. But I knew it was going to be a fight to hold that type of leadership and to help those coaches that had hit diamond go beyond diamond. I knew we were going to have to plow and till and plant and replant and protect. I knew the process. I knew the process to my purpose. So I want you guys, like, ejection is not an option. So when all of that stuff goes off, and Chad has those emergency, he has a checklist he goes through to get them back on track. But ejection is not an option. So when it comes to this business, I want you to take that with you today. I want to ask you if you're willing to fail me by 90%. It took me 5 years to hit the Millionaires Club. What if it took you twice as long? What if it took you 10? Okay, it took me 2.5 years to hit 6 figures. 2.5. What if it took you 5? Would you be better off than you are now? 5 years from now, if you did nothing, would you be better off? See what I'm saying? Ask yourself that question. Are you willing to build on that failure equation? Do you hate it enough, whatever it is? Are you willing to do that hard work? What do you hate? What excites you? Those are the questions I want you to ask yourself. And then I want you to take ejection off the table. The ejection button or handle, take the ejection handle off the table and remain committed to the climb. Remain committed to the fight for the people that never thought they could win. Stay focused on where you've come from. That's where your power comes from. Share that message. And I promise you, this business, all the plowing, all the preparation, everything you've gone through, there's going to be an amazing harvest for you. That's a promise that we can stand on top of. But you have to do those things that I just taught you. If you do that, I promise you this. We'll be high-fiving and fist bumping at Summit this year, next year, and the next year after. And that's what I want for you, because that right there, that excites the hell out of me. You guys, thank you so much for allowing me to speak on your call. Janelle, I know you're not here, but it's such an honor to have Chad and I. You have completely changed our life, and I hope that Chad and I were able to give back to you and your team just a fraction of what you've done for us. I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.